How's it going, everybody? Meister here. Welcome back to Gasparilla County. We're here once again in St. Patricksburg, and in today's episode I am going to attempt to finally get some commercial demand going here. So for the last bunch of episodes I've had nothing but zero commercial demand across the entire city. Nothing, zip, zero, zilch. And I'm gonna try to turn that around. I want to get some commercial stores in the downtown area so we can then proceed to expand on the old town that I was building. I would really like for there to be, you know, some stores and stuff around this district. As in downtown, there's a number of empty lots dotted around the downtown core that should be filled in with commercial spaces, but I do not have any. And how are we going to do that, you may ask? Well, I am going to be working on a port area over in this section of town. So hopefully by spinning up some new industries in town, it's going to drive commercial demand a little bit up. And another thing I can also do, which I'm gonna try, and look at this, guys, we're finally turning a profit. Look at that, over 100K a month. We're actually doing pretty good. And I didn't get as close to zero as I thought I was going to before breaking even. So doing pretty good on the economy side, but we're about to take a little bit of a hit for the next while because I'm also going to reduce my commercial tax rate in an effort to bump up that demand a little bit. So let's try maybe lowering this by 2%. Ooh. Yeah, I don't know if I want to do that. That is going to cost us dearly. Maybe let's try 7% because commercial, surprisingly, is a pretty big source of income for the city. And even just by reducing my taxation by 10 or 10%, 1%, I'm losing more than 100K a month. So I'm probably in the red again, or well, pretty darn close to it. But maybe that 1% will make the difference. It's gonna help because yeah, I'm just I'm not getting anything at all. Actually, is there any city policies that I could maybe do? I don't think so. Oh, what's this? Advertising. Okay, no, that's not really gonna drive. It might actually spin up some commercial businesses, maybe some hotels and things. That are going to accommodate these extra tourists. Perhaps I can try enacting this policy. We got nothing to lose at this point. But anyways, let's jump right into it, guys. Let's get started on this port area, but I'm going to zoom out so you can see what the surrounding area looks like. So we have this inlet here that is surrounded by these two keys. So it kind of creates a natural harbor for this entire area. So I think it's perfect for a port. Now, I'm going to try to make things look as aesthetically pleasing as I possibly can, but we'll just have to see here. So let's go into Cargo Harbor. Oh boy, wow, this is much bigger than I thought it was going to be. Okay, let's X out of this, and I am going to demolish this whole section of road here, get rid of all these industrial buildings. We're gonna put a lot of people out of work in this episode. And let's go ahead now and plop our harbor. Now, I want the harbor to be as, you know, straight as I can possibly get it. Perhaps I can build a road. I'm just kind of trying things out here, guys. Bear with me. So if I build a road here, perfect 90 degrees, can I plop my harbor right up against it? Yes, I can. Okay. Let's do that. And how's it looking height-wise? Looking pretty good. This is a pretty low-lying area, so that looks nice. And now let's go into our shipping lanes. Is this a wide lane? No. It is a medium lane. And then we are going to hook this up to the exterior of the map, just like so. And then, do I want to go ahead and plop a harbor, perhaps? I'm wondering if I should plop a harbor too, guys, a passenger harbor, because then maybe we can bring some tourists into the city via boat, because then I can create a shipping route that goes to the extremities of the map. We'll see. But first I'm going to build a shipping lane, so both a outgoing and an incoming one. I think one should do for now. So right off the bat, our cargo harbor should be functional. No use building any upgrades yet. And there we go. So along with this new harbor, actually, you know what? I don't think a 2-lane road is going to suffice here. Maybe I should build... I'm going to build something a bit more realistic here instead of connecting this up directly to the main road. You know, let's make for something a bit more, you know, realistic, in the sense that you don't just drive up right into a port like that. You know, you got to go through security checks and all kinds of stuff. So let's make sort of an official entrance to this port area. So perhaps we can have this road that goes in this direction and then connects up to the main road over here. And then there's no toll booths. It would look cool if we had like a little toll booth set up here. You know, so it would kind of act as like a little security checkpoint. But then again, you know, we have a little security checkpoint in each entrance and exit for the port. But I am going to try this. Perhaps I should do, instead of like a 2-lane road, let's do a 1-way that's going to lead out of the port area, and then we'll have a separate road that leads in. So now I can go ahead and start building some industrial warehouses and businesses and whatnot along the side here. Actually, you know what? What if... should I maybe do a railway connection? I should probably do a railway connection. That would look pretty cool, as well as a bunch of warehouses. You know, some big old warehouses. Oh no, does it not fit in here? Why wouldn't it fit? It fits with anarchy. Let's just do anarchy. There we go. I have a couple of warehouses in here, and I am gonna go ahead with the railway connection, as I think we can really benefit from having such a thing. Yeah, so let's build a railway connection. So I'm quite limited on where I can build this. Oh my god, what is going on here? Okay, well, let's try this out. Trains. Let's do a double track. And then I'm going to make... oops. Hey, look at that. We fixed our trains. Oh, cool, look at that. Our freight harbor is already in use. We already have some storage. Very nice. So how do I get my rail to get here? Well, first we're going to have to lay down a bit more infrastructure, I think. And this is a bit more than I initially thought I was going to get into, but I'm going to have to provide a rail yard to this area. So let's see here. I'm probably going to want to put it somewhere. In the middle. I'm going to delete this segment. And then I'm going to grab my rail yard. And then connect it up like so. That seems pretty well lined up. Okay, and let's see if we can make this make sense. Okay, so then we have a single track that is coming up from the port. Let me turn off anarchy here because we're gonna have to destroy a few buildings, unfortunately. But let's do something like this. Let's go across this main road before doing a 90-degree in this direction. All right. Hopefully this is not too much of a traffic nightmare, but if it becomes a traffic nightmare, then I will ensure that we do some not level crossings. Now I'm gonna have to do a little bit of modifications here to my highway, because certainly if we go in the historical context of how most cities are developed, train tracks tend to be laid down long before any highways were around here. So I'm going to pause the game, and I am going to be forced to build a bridge over these railroad tracks. So let's line this all up as best we can. And then what I'm going to do is go into my terrain tools, reduce my brush size a little bit, and then bump this up to, oh, wrong tool. I'm gonna bump this up to, I don't know, I'd say right around, does this make sense? Right around here? How's that look? I think an overpass should clear that. All right, so now I'm gonna take my slope tool and then line everything up like this, and then we'll do the same here. Do I have to destroy this segment? Oh, that's gonna make a mess. I'll use Move It to fix this. All right, now let's go back into our highways. Ooh, okay. Maybe I should have used Anarchy for this build. Yeah, I should probably do that. Maybe this overpass isn't high enough, but let's see what it gives us if we use Anarchy. Oh yeah, that's way better. That cleans things up a lot. There. And I think, oh yeah, we're gonna have to raise this a little bit. So then let's use Move It to bump this up just ever so slightly. There we go. And then I'll smooth things out by raising this terrain. All right, there we go. And then lastly, we will soften the terrain around this overpass. There we go, nice and smooth. Perfect. Okay, so now we should have a functioning rail network. Well, almost. All I have to do now is to connect this all up. And how's this gonna work out? It's gonna break the grid pattern a little bit, but that's okay. There, all right. So now this whole system should be functional. Awesome. All right, so still no commercial demand, but let's continue expanding on the industrial area, and perhaps by the end of this episode, we'll spin up some A little bit of commercial demand. I'm going to fill in this whole area, and because this is in the US, especially in Florida, I am not going to shy away from plopping down a couple of parking lots here and there. So we have a medium parking lot. How would a large parking lot look here? It would probably look pretty decent, but it's going to ruin a few buildings, so I'm just going to plop a couple of medium ones. Start off with that. And then maybe I'll do a couple of small parking lots as well. And then in between some of these buildings, let's do some offices as well. And then you know what? I'm preemptively going to put down some commercial as well for when we do have demand. But all along here, I am going to do some industrial zoning with a little bit of offices in between. There we go. And what I'm going to do is, somebody pointed out in my last episode that I'm totally lacking a road maintenance depot in the city. I think I have one or two over there in Gasparilla, but yeah, the roads are they're not looking too good over here. So we are going to need a depot somewhere here. Actually, you know what? I'm going to remove this parking lot, and I'm going to plop a road maintenance depot right here. And do I need the upgrades? I don't really need upgrades yet. So we should be good with that. And what else? What else could we maybe shove in here? You know, of course I have some signature buildings. We have like a vehicle factory. Oh my god, that's huge. Ground earth. Okay, so that's like a, you know, an ore-based business. We have a paper mill. We have a chemical plant. You know what? In Tampa, in Tampa Harbor, I'm not really sure what the official name is, there is actually quite a bit of heavy industry. I think some oil industry might be housed there. So perhaps we could do like a chemical plant or something around here. That'd be pretty cool. Fuel plant as well. We have some high-tech industry too, some big warehouses, you know, some pharma and whatnot. So yeah, maybe we can look at plopping down a big old warehouse or two. That would be pretty cool. And maybe a incineration plant or something. I mean, I don't think we have the money right yet. But yeah, I don't think we have the money right yet. We're actually losing a fair bit again. But, I mean, I think the economic spin-offs from building all this new infrastructure is going to bring us back into the positive here. Hopefully, that's the plan. But yeah, let's maybe see what we can fit. I'm thinking probably either the chemical plant or maybe a fuel plant along the harbor somewhere. That would look pretty darn neat if we were able to fit that in. Let's try it. No, I don't know. Okay, so at this point I've established that this entire block here and quite a ways down the coastline is going to be dedicated to industrial. So what I want to work on now is creating a sort of port area here, and we're going to build something a little bit more custom made. And I kind of want to reflect what is seen in Tampa Harbor. I'm not really sure what the official name of it is, but I think it would look pretty cool if we have some Tampa-inspired coastline around here. So let's do a bit of terrain modifications here. We're going to reclaim some land. And I think I'm just going to kind of straighten out the coastline. Oh, wow, that's actually pretty good. That's all freehand, guys. That's years of Cities Skylines practice right there. There, so let's start off with something like this. And then I may have to move some of these buildings. I'm gonna de-zone, yeah, I'm gonna de-zone all of this. Remove these. And I'm gonna go in my signature buildings, and let's see if we can maybe fit a fuel plant along here. It doesn't look like it'll fit unless we scooch this building over. This is gonna cost me a fortune, but Oh my god, 100K. All right, let's do it. It's gonna be so expensive. Oh my god, I might ruin myself with this episode. I've already spent like over $1 million. Okay, and then what did I want to do? Let's do signature buildings. We'll build a fuel plant right along the coastline. So I'm gonna plop it right about here, and then I don't think I'm gonna be able to fit anything else quite in this area. Actually, this might fit pretty good. This ground earth company. And what do these grant anyway? I gotta take my time here, guys. I gotta take a look at what these buildings offer. So +2 efficiency citywide for industries, +10 ore deposits. We're not extracting any ore yet, but that's okay. And the fuel plant, +2 industrial efficiency, -5 industrial air pollution, and -5 industrial ground pollution as well. So all good stuff. And now we're gonna lay down some roads and connect everything up. And then we'll beautify this coastline. We'll add some rocks and all kinds of exciting stuff. And well, I was thinking of doing small rocks for this entire coastline. I think I'm just gonna bite the bullet and do the boulders. Now they don't look quite as good as, you know, some tediously placed rocks, but wait, wall-to-wall mode is what I want. Yeah, there we go. But you know, I think the boulders still look fine for what we're trying to build here today. Now what I'll do is just add some wild green bushes. We'll make these a bit more mature, nice and plump. And then I'll just go to town, basically. We'll just add a whole bunch. And then perhaps I'll add like some bigger shrubs along the coast. In the back here. And now, in a previous episode, I had plopped down a transformer station over here. I think I'm going to relocate this to perhaps here, because then it's going to force us to run some power lines. Oh crap, no, really? I would have to put it the other way. Here, let me fix this. And yeah, I kind of like these big old industrial areas with power lines running through them. I just think they look really cool. So I'm gonna put a transformer station here, and then we'll get some transformer lines running across in this direction. And then I will go ahead and run these diagonally before deleting this building. All right, now I certainly do not need these extra processing units, but this would look awful cool if I plopped it right over here. I may want to move this building a bit closer. I'm not really sure if it's gonna break the game if I plopped those extra aeration tanks or whatever too far outside of its zone, but I'm just gonna scooch this wastewater treatment plant a bit closer. Again, costing me a ton of money for little to no reason. Actually, you know what? I'm going to build it alongside here. And then I'll put these aeration buildings. Yeah, I'll do that here. And that's gonna free up some space for some extra little industrial buildings. There we go. And despite doing all that, we have still 0 commercial demand. I'm kind of worried that this is a bug at this point. But maybe not. You know, some of our commercial businesses are still struggling, although the number of them seem to have gone down. Look at that, they don't seem to be struggling that much anymore. But I did plop a ton of commercial zoning in this town as well as over here. So, you know, perhaps we're still way good. Okay, so now I'm gonna break things up a bit. I'm gonna move on to this area. So I'm gonna reclaim some more land. Oh yeah, look at that, guys. Woo, just free-handed it once again. Beautiful. Let's get this area all nice and flat. All terraformed. Oof, this is pretty low. It's not too bad. And what I'm gonna do now is build a road along the side of the water. Here, let's start off with that, and then let's build a quay alongside here. Now I'm going to continue expanding the port in this new area, and this space is going to be more custom built compared to the rest of the seaport. And that's just because I haven't really taken the time yet to explore all of the various props that we have access to now, and all the decals and all the little details that we have access to because of mods. And now that we have these wonderful mods, you know, there's no limit to how detailed you want an area to look. So I'm gonna go back to my roots a little bit in this build and create something that is more highly detailed, just like I used to do in Cities Skylines 1 more often. So I'm gonna create a big slab of concrete essentially over here, and this area in the port's going to be a bit more geared towards generic storage. So there's going to be a lot of warehouses, some container storage. It's not going to be as active, I would say, as the actual, functioning seaport. And a lot of this area is not going to be functional at all because I'm going to add various props and stuff. It's basically just for looks, but there is going to still be a number of, actual functioning industries just to generate some traffic and stuff through the area. Now I kind of screwed up here a little bit. I plopped down a few warehouses on my own, but unfortunately they do get abandoned by the end of this episode because I think these are agricultural warehouses and I don't have any agriculture in this area of the map, so they just fall abandoned. So it just goes to show that in Cities Skylines 2, all of the generic industry buildings are not really generic at all. They're all sort of specialized in their own type of industry. For instance, if you have a ton of oil production on your map, then all of your industries around that area are going to be kind of oil focused, so you'll have these big fuel containers and whatnot. But I have none of that. I have basically no custom industry in the city yet. So, I guess we're just gonna have to deal with the generic industry. So here I reclaimed a big chunk of land and I kind of just wanted to make like, I don't even know what to call this. Just another area in the port, kind of serving the same purpose of what you saw me just build here, just some generic industry with some containers, things like that. I mean, the whole purpose of me expanding this land here is just to play around with a bunch of props. At this point, I was kind of in the zone, and just building away. And I kind of had to force myself to stop at one point because I was going to get too carried away. But also in reclaiming this land, it's going to set the precedence for what I want to come next episode. So we're going to keep working on the coast and we're going to be getting back into the residential side of things. So I'm going to create this really nice coastal area. And I'm really excited because I'm loving the way that the western coast of St. Patricksburg is shaping up. It's really, really cool. I'm going to include some cinematics at the end of this industrial build, guys, so you can get a good glimpse of how this whole area is becoming a reality. But yeah, I mean, I'm just really, really liking this industrial area. It's the first real industrial area that I've put a lot of effort into, and it's totally worth it, I would recommend, if you get the chance, guys, to really take your time and just slowly chip away at building out your areas as opposed to just kind of blanket zoning a big area, especially with industries. Totally worth it. If you're going for any kind of aesthetic build, if that's at all important to you. And for me it is, so I'm taking my time here. But I gotta say, guys, it was kind of nice getting back into the detailing side of things, and I'm really having fun with this series. And for me, anyways, I kind of enjoy the fact that we don't have access to any custom assets yet, because I feel like when you have access to hundreds of thousands of different assets, it kind of gets overwhelming, especially if you're building kind of like a manually detailed city with like unlimited props and things like that. So I don't know, it just makes things a bit more manageable for me when detailing. So I think we already have a pretty decent collection of bushes and trees. And, with a little bit of time and patience, you can create some really, really nice looking areas. So I'm kind of basing this whole thing off of the port in Tampa. And it seems that, there's like an active port area, a shipping container port, but the majority of the whole sea coast is just like factories and warehouses and probably some oil facilities of some sorts. There appears to be a lot of like these big oil silos, things like that. So I'm kind of trying to get that same vibe here in St. Patricksburg. And there's still a lot of greenery kind of in between all of the buildings in the port of Tampa. There's all these not necessarily abandoned lots, but they're just like these empty grassy areas between a lot of the buildings. So I'm gonna go through here and remove some of this concrete and fill in some of the gaps with just some trees and bushes. It just creates a bit more variety, kind of creates more contrast to the whole area. Now I gotta give a shout out to Sully in this episode for creating these awesome road marking decals and these potholes and cracked decals. They just add so much character and so much life to these areas, especially when you're dealing with such a big slab of concrete, right? Like on its own, it looks kind of barren and boring. And by adding these decals, it just makes the whole thing look so much more realistic. Because, you know, ports are subject to all kinds of elements, right? I mean, it's outside, there's trucks coming in and out. They're not necessarily the cleanest environments, right? So just by adding a few decals on the ground, you can make these really, really convincing looking port areas, or, you know, anywhere else where you would find a giant slab of concrete. Maybe like an airport or something like that. These props would look really cool. Or, I don't know, like a large parking lot, you may want to add some of these road markings or tire marks. But yeah, overall, shout out to Sully. All of his decals are on the Paradox Mods workshop, so it's literally 2 clicks and you're there. I suggest you go check them out. He also has a bunch of like graffiti decals and road markings, and he's just got a nice collection. I'm subscribed to them all, and I'm probably going to use them a fair bit in the rest of this city. So we're pretty much wrapping things up now, guys, and like I said, there's going to be some cinematics at the very end, so I suggest that you stick around. But until then, enjoy these last couple of minutes of time lapse, and then we'll go back into live mode and we'll kind of close things out. Okay, well, after quite a bit of work, a lot more than I originally anticipated, this is the final result. And I have to say, guys, I'm really proud of this one. I don't know, it just turned out way better than what I expected. I was really not expecting to go this huge, but yeah, I love it. It's so awesome. So, despite building all of this, unfortunately, we still have 0 commercial demand, and I don't know, it's kind of eating away at me, guys. I don't know what to do about this. So please leave me some comments on what to do. I'm really pulling at strings now. But yeah, hopefully you guys can think of something, because yeah, I'm kind of clueless now. How's our economic situation? Well, you know what? It's really not that bad, to be honest. Despite everything that I've built today, I was really expecting this to be an economic disaster. But I think I just spent over $1 million in total, which isn't that bad, and I'm not even losing $100,000 a month. And I think we're going to be able to recoup that as we start to fill in the interior of the St. Patricksburg Peninsula. So guys, that is going to be it for me for this episode. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. If you enjoyed this episode, drop a like, leave a comment, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel to get notified of future uploads. Guys, again, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.